Good morning. Today, I will release some information that might be helpful to the investigation. It's just part of my story. Take what resonates, and please leave the rest. We're going to go back to 2019 after, 2018 when I moved from one trailer in my city to another trailer in a different part of town. And I kept doing my best to just keep getting up and going to work and doing the thing. It was a really dark time. I just lost my kids several months previous, and I was still reeling from that. And just by living next to people, you become associated with people. I kind of just fell in with the wrong crowd, which I wasn't trying to. It's just the people I worked with, the people I lived next to, so you're associated with that. Ended up going down a really dark spiral, but I was living alone. I had a 2-bedroom place to myself. One of the bedrooms was for art, and because of my big heart, I always ended up letting people talk me into renting my other room out, which, against my better judgment, I should have just stayed alone and been poor until my art took off, but I didn't. Because it was like a reverse honey trap. Like, they moved into my house, and then they wouldn't leave, and they were just up to nefarious things that, well, when you're at work for 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, you can't account for things going on in your house or what people are doing. But, and I'm not here to snitch. I'm just trying to tell my story. With the least amount of casualties possible, right? There's a group of witches, we'll say, that work together to destroy people's lives. This is here in Boise, Idaho. And this is happening all over the world. I'm just trying to give a little footwork for the rest of us to start feeling like it's okay to start telling the truth radically now, because we're in a new world. We build the new world. We have to stick to it if we want that. Consistency is key. Anyway, it was a toxic time for me, and I was really trying to heal from losing my children and losing the love of my life, which also fell victim to this circle of people who is influenced by a certain smaller group of people, which I just happened to marry into, right? And this is the type of toxic that does not want to see somebody succeed, so they will spend their life doing everything they can to sabotage other people because they're miserable. And this has been a long battle since 2010. The same people. And I've tried to start over, get a new job. I even, after a mental breakdown in 2019, I went to my mom's house to get some rest and restart, recalibrate. And then COVID happened. It's not coincidence. All these things are tied. Anytime I make a big move physically, politics tend to blow up and things tend to blow up around me. COVID actually went through Vancouver into our country. That's how it got there. And I was one of the first people to get COVID. Talk about a psyops, right? During that time, the smear campaigns were the highest. I was working. I was doing my very best to stay employed, pay my bills. But I had a lot of people going up against me. I still do. But this was when I was unaware of the gravity of the situation and who I am. Still a little bit asleep. So a lot of stuff happened then. I ended up actually trying to fight cops. I got this big old scar. I didn't fight them. It was verbal. I didn't physically lash out. They beat the shit out of me while I was in handcuffs and was defending my First Amendment. A whole bunch of other things happened, and all I was trying to do was just beat my addiction. I ended up going the other way because one of my siblings thought it was a good idea to brew wine in our basement. I don't know if you know this, but us Drakes like to go big or go home. And when you don't have a home, well, when you're floating between homes, right, you go as big as you can. So that led me down a side quest with my addiction recovery. And I ended up going way the wrong way with it. But I learned a lot of things during this time frame because I realized everything is fluid, and they're going to fuck with anything that you think, that you feel and lean on comfortably, because that's their game. And especially if you're a targeted individual, they will ruin everything good. Between that time, besides working, I tried to start a whole farm. I had 18 birds and an acre and a third property. And then I ran, that was just during COVID unemployment, right? So I downsized to 5 birds in a corner of my parents' property, 3/4 acre lot. I think I had about maybe an eighth of an acre, not even, to work with, and I made it work. I had 2 gardens set up right there, or 1 garden next to my little wizard shack. I lived in that thing too. It was pretty awesome. But I was in survival mode, and basically everything was a model of, okay, if this is the end of the world, how would you treat this? And so I used that time as education. I always use my solitude as education. My prison was education. The COVID solitude and everything I learned, I actually produced and published 4 different albums. They're not the best of quality, but I can always revisit those projects later on when I'm more settled. But I'm still in the thick of it, right? Still trying to fight for freedom for all of us. And that's the sacrifice I made, all the things I like to do, so that I could address some worldwide problems. And that was the dilemma there, okay? And then I was recovering from all sorts of things, and I was the cause of a lot of heartache and pain. And I guess people have, called me a womanizer, this and that. Yes, I got familiar with that lifestyle when I was in it, but I was never really comfortable with it. I've always been a family man. Always been a family man. I just kind of went with the flow, and I got really good at it. Got really good at the swooning, the heartbreaker, heartthrob, bad boy. But it wasn't me, right? That's the survival character, battle armor. If you know, you know. Not only was the police force against me, the street folk were against me, because it's all one big ring, right? And when you get to the bottom of it, it's drugs, sex, and human trafficking. It's all... The government's ran by that crime, okay? Like, go back in history, do a deep dive, and you'll find out that every colonization was founded by war and drugs. War and drugs. War and drugs. Think about it. The Inquisition of America happened because of alcohol, right? And, well, massacres. And our history has been really whitewashed, so I'm not going to tell you anything that I don't know is fact, but there's a lot of information out there that you can kind of deduce, especially if you're trying to streamline your family history. And you'll get, it takes a while, but you'll get some information if you keep trying. Anyway, so 2021, I'm basically, end of 2021, I'm already ready, and I spent more than enough time in Washington and healed, but learning to live on the fly and to make do with what I have. The abundant mindset, the true abundant mindset. Just living like I have to provide for myself. And the basic comforts they like to mess with are our food and our shelter to keep us unstable. And those need to be inalienable human rights right now. We have enough wealth in this world for it not to even be an excuse anymore. And if you don't want me on the project, that's cool, but someone needs to be on the project. And if I don't get to be on the project, I'll spend my energy tearing down the corruption still, yet again. And here we are. So I decided to move back to Idaho to handle some things. And I got lied to by this hooker and into other things. She's in that same coven of witches, right? She lied to me and told me she lived in a certain town, which she lived in a different town. So when I got here, it was already a kind of a clusterfuck. She said she had a room I could rent. She said she was sober and drug-free. She wasn't. As soon as I got there, she was trying to put all sorts of coke and ketamine and mushrooms at me and whatever else. I think that was the main, and weed. Well, I smoke weed anyway, but like just an overload. And then she tried to set me up and put me in some sort of position. And this is what they do. This is their MO. They try to get you in a position where it looks like you're some sort of aggressor. She invited me to bed, and I fell asleep next to her. And I woke up with a hard-on next to her, and she said my dick was hard and next to her, but I was sleeping. So that whole thing, she blew it way out of proportion. I didn't even really want to be cuddled up next to her because I had that gut feeling. No, I didn't do anything or trying anything because I already had, you know what I mean? It was like, well, I'm not here for that. And then she set me up, and I didn't say anything because of the people I'm connected to and the influence that I have. It's an abuse of power to start spreading things because people die that way. People get really hurt that way when you start saying things off the cuff, right? And I didn't realize how much me not saying something in 2022 was going to affect the rest of my life up until now. But now I'm saying things, and these false allegations in this coven blew up to something completely out of proportion, where the facts need to be set straight, and this group of people really needs to be looked at. And this isn't just here in Boise. This is happening everywhere. This is the corporate war we're fighting, and they're using our families against families. They are literally programming our families to fight each other, okay? So, like, and here I am still trying to be loyal to people, the idea that they're stuck in a system and they're scared and they're enslaved. But, like, look, we're all adults. Say, beyond a certain point, we got to say, okay, that shit's enough. Enough's enough. And I said that in 2020. Well, I declared it in 2020, and then I kept fighting. Like all my music is based on the fight against human trafficking and God's work. And I had Flying Monkeys come out. I had people, I don't know who paid these motherfuckers to come in and, like, play this, like, circus game, send all this energy around me so that people aren't hearing me, so it makes it look like I'm the leader of some sort of cult. But I guarantee the way they do it is they keep the person in the middle pretty blind to all the facts. But little did they know I decided to go deep undercover in 2020 to fight against human trafficking. And I ended up right back in the middle of that ring, which just so happens to be the culprits of the problem. So here we are, 2025, and I got some legal battles I'm gonna have to fight. And now it's not even slander anymore. I'm not gonna say anything that a flying monkey might take and turn around to use against me. Okay. My bosses already know that I'm going to be telling the absolute truth. So the New World Order is we tell the truth, we build on truth, we live on truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is, right? The fact of the matter is there's some people in the shadows that are being held unaccountable still and running these fucking shit shows. It's not even the street gangs, the families that are the problem. It's the corruption in the system that uses the cops against the families and the money against the people, right? That's really the issue here, is the money against the people. It's not serving our highest good. And in our Constitution, it literally tells us to overthrow corrupt systems when they become corrupt. Our founding fathers knew this day would come, okay? No big secret. But I'm not talking about just our border now. Like, we literally have a global institution right here. Every single human being can tap in and come to the school of YouTube and put their wisdom, their nuggets, their knowledge to help build something. Instead of creating a vacuum with this negative energy, we could be building by adding, hey, I did this today and it made me feel good. It made me feel X, Y, and Z. These actions made me feel in my brain, in my cute little brain, A, B, C, and D, right? I'm not giving up on this ideal. What's going to happen is the push is going to become so evident that the people that are only here for an agenda of catfishing and human trafficking and entrapment and blackmailing and death, murder, conspiracy, crimes against humanity, crimes of war, those are all punishable by some extreme things, and that's out of my hands. All I am doing is making it evident the reasons why I consistently show up on these platforms, because the cyberbullying is a global phenomenon that I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't see. And I'm not going to stand on your side if you're part of the Matrix. Be you, be yourself, be honest. Yes, my shadow side's going to fuck a lot of shit up. I don't have to tell everybody who's a thirsty little trap for some energy about my shadow side. You're going to find out what my shadow side is when you start to see the world change around me, because I pledged both of my sides, all of my sides, to the same oath of truth. Do good for good. What is it? Be good. Do good. Be good for good. So where I picked up that was in Spokane after some crazy ass fucking rituals where I probably was supposed to die, but I didn't. I escaped because intuition's a thing. They set up a little PSYOPs snow cone stand for one more ritual, and I got a little snow cone and treated my inner child, right? And on the cup it said, do good, be good, for good. And since I was in that, like, authoritative energy of let's do this, I fucking put that on my backpack like it was a badge, and I walked around and humiliated myself for 2 days in Spokane with this stupid cup on my backpack that looked like some kid who wanted to be a cop with a badge. But, like, look, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. When in doubt, fake it out. I don't know. The point is, I brought the authoritative energy, badge or not. I found a way to make it work, and I took a pledge there. I took an oath, actually, to do good and be good for good. That was the official oath I took, and that was this year in May, beginning of May, right after May the 4th be with you, which is a sick ritual that also needs to be looked into. The holidays all need to be looked into for human trafficking, and the malls, they all lead back to Rome. But you know what I mean. Like Hollywood, the military, they're connected. It's all the clones. It's all connected to keep you confused so that they can try to sneak in with the New World plan, which isn't. No, there's two plans going on. There's their plan of ultimate dominance, and then there's the sovereign plan, which actually is basically just a model of how you would wake up every day in a slave world and become sovereign. It's a mind and a soul set. It's a decision. And once you make that decision and keep going, accountability looks different. Everybody wants a patsy. Everybody wants a man in position to put all their woes on, but what they failed to realize is that, like, the ones chosen by God aren't here to be a patsy. They're here to fuck shit up and turn tables over. They're here to be like, that's not right. That's disgusting. That's immoral. That's against humanity. And that's what I'm doing. So, you can love me. You can hate me. You can try to keep throwing dirt on my name, but I'm a seed, and I will grow to be a beautiful, beautiful tree of life.